Welcome to Nature of Sovereignty. Happy New Year. 2022 is finally here. Let's see how this one rolls. Today I have on Dr. Shalair Armstrong. She's a Boston-based Doctor of Chiropractic, Cannabis Dispensary Partner, and CryptoEducator. We start off with her Clubhouse rooms, Wake Up with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Basics, all that you need to know, concepts Bitcoin newcomers struggle with most, and how Shalair provides clarity, scams to look out for, which is a very important topic, and also just the mind of a hustler. She wakes up at 3 a.m. and she juggles 3 businesses. So that's a crazy insight that I didn't know about. And finally, her goal for 2022 and beyond is to have every Black family own 1 Bitcoin. So this is a high goal, and I think it's definitely attainable. But first, we kick off the conversation with her Wall Street Journal coverage and how the brand of BBB and Shalair is expanding wide and far. Enjoy. I want to start there. Like, how did you get in contact? Why did they reach out? And what was the coverage about?
Actually, they reached out to me. The guy that did the story has been covering Bitcoin since 2013, I want to say. And he's just been kind of following folks that are doing stuff in the space. I happened to do Zoom before I was on Clubhouse. It was just Bitcoin Basics for Beginners. So I would just do a Zoom or a Facebook Live or whatever was available. And I would get friends and family and their friends and family together. And I would say, okay, this is what the basics of Bitcoin is. This is what a Bitcoin is. This is what a wallet is. This is, how you store it. This is what dollar cost averaging is. So when the BBB started this club, it was the first day that I joined Clubhouse. And I was in a room with Lamar, and Lamar said, so I'm starting a club. We actually have a club now. So we're going to have our first room. And then he said, we can do different rooms in the club. So Naja said that she's going to do her Crypto Virgin Hour. And I said, well, I can do the mornings. I can do my Bitcoin Basics for Beginners. So I said, let's do Bitcoin Basics for Beginners. And then Lamar said, why don't you, since it's in the morning, why don't you say Wake Up with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Basics for Beginners? So it was a brilliant idea to say Wake Up with Bitcoin, because that's our morning and the other one is the afternoon. So the guy that works for Wall Street Journal, he kind of has been sort of following the journey, and he comes into my rooms in the morning. So he came into the room, he contacted me. He said, hey, I've got a story about Bitcoiners. You're someone that I consider to be a Bitcoiner because you've been teaching it. Do you have any other people that can also be part of the article? I was like, of course, of course. I've got Lamar Wilson. The room that you came into is in a club called the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. So I started telling him about the club and stuff like that. He said, oh, that's great. So then I said for him to contact Lamar. So Lamar was actually in the story too. He asked me if there was anyone else that was kind of new to cryptocurrency, maybe someone that I had spoken to about cryptocurrency, so that he could get an idea of their experience with that Wake Up with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Basics for Beginners. So he reached out to Marshall and he talked to Marshall about it. So that was nice. But it was a really, really great spotlight for the club, because we are all greater than each individual. We're all better as a sum. So I thought that was a really great spotlight for BBB. And I look forward to more and more growth because of it. It did bring a few people to the platform. I want to say that I do chiropractic. I also do cannabis, and I also do cryptocurrency. So I got the 3 C's going on.
Yeah. It's a great trifecta.
Yeah, it is.
I need all 3.
Right. A lot of people need all 3. So at this point, I'm just hoping for continued growth in all of these areas, actually.
Awesome. Yes, the attention and the coverage has exploded. I know we did the Times article, getting coverage in Forbes, now Wall Street Journal, and talking to other Bitcoiners. I know from Bitcoin Magazine, they're like, hey, when we have our Twitter Spaces, a lot of the Black Bitcoiners that come on stage, they say, oh, well, I first heard about this in Billionaires Club. Like, this is the first time that I heard about Bitcoin, and I learned about the basics and the essentials. So we are de facto the voice of the culture, right? And and that's really something to, you know, take in, and that responsibility that comes with it. And you're one of the leaders in that march. So with Wake Up with Bitcoin, if I'm a newbie and I have Clubhouse, and what time is it again?
It's now 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
7 a.m. Okay. And I want to come and learn about Bitcoin. Could you give us a little feel of how the rooms are?
Sure. So I have to start with, if you can't make it at 7 a.m., it's cool. Like, the replays are on, so you can always go onto Clubhouse. You can go under the Black Bitcoin Billionaires, and you can see the replays of all of our rooms. So we've got the Crypto Virgin hour there. We've got security, mindset, and scam awareness that's there. We've got, I think that the babies room is on there, and the boomers room is on there as well. But for sure, Crypto Virgin hour and Wake Up with Bitcoin, Bitcoin Basics for Beginners is on there. So what you should expect when you come into the room is, I'll just open up with saying, we're the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. This is the name of the club. This is what we're going to do. And what we do is, I go over the basic definitions. What's a Bitcoin? Who's Satoshi Nakamoto? What's a Satoshi? What's the number of Bitcoins that will be mined? What's a miner? How does that work? Verification process. And when they're putting those timestamps, that's really, really important. Why do we have Bitcoin? It solves the problem of double spending. Maybe someone doesn't know what double spending is. So I go into all of that. So what I find is that when people are interested in this space, there's so many places that you can get information, that your mind can get kind of jungled a little bit. And then you end up in NFTs, and you end up in altcoins, and you end up in all of these things, and you think that all things are equal. What I feel like is that Bitcoin is the foundation. Once you get that foundation around Bitcoin, then you can go on and you can move into other spaces safely. Once you understand security, you can move into other spaces safely. We do this so that our members are not being taken advantage of, and it's a really safe space. So after I go into the definitions, I go into an onboarding platform or an exchange. Right now, I'm going into Cash App, because most people have Cash App on their phone. So I'll go into Cash App, and I'll show them exactly in the 5-day challenge, which I'll go over the 5-day challenge in a moment, but I'll show them exactly how you can purchase your Bitcoin. If you wanted to sell, how you can sell your Bitcoin. If you wanted to move your Bitcoin, and how you can take a look at the transaction, the verification of that transaction on the mempool. So I actually go into a transaction, and I show them how Bitcoin's blockchain network system looks. All right. So those are the kinds of things that we'll get into in the morning. And then I open it up for questions. The 5-day challenge is, come on into the room, stay for 5 days, and learn this information. It's overwhelming at first. Folks are traveling. Remember, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. So we got folks that are dropping off their kids, people that are commuting to work, people that are going to school, all kinds of folks. We have folks from other countries, right? And we're all busy. The reason that I say 5 days is because it takes a while for you to get these concepts. I also want you to be able to get an opportunity to go to our other rooms. Security and scam awareness, that's really, really important. If you've got older people in your family, you want to be able to speak to them in the language that they can understand. So that Bitcoin Basics for baby boomers, it's important. Teaching Bitcoin to the babies, that's important, because that's the next generation. If we're not showing them how to custody that cryptocurrency and really secure it, then what are we doing it all for? So in that 5-day challenge, I'm going from room to room to room, and I'm sitting in those rooms, and I am taking that information in. Some people won't be able to make it back to the other rooms. So we'll bring bits and pieces of that information into the 5-day challenge. And in that 5-day challenge, I encourage folks to send their questions into the back channel, come up to the stage. No question is a silly question or a question that's too basic, because that's what we're there for. So that's what we do in the mornings.
Yes, that's awesome. And it's a lot of foreign concepts, right? Because that's what you're saying. That's why you need like 5 days to really take your time and absorb the different concepts. Like, what's a digital ledger? Why only have 21 million? And what's a fixed supply, and why that's important? And the inflation, and what have you? And digital scarcity, digital security. For newcomers, what do they tend to struggle with most in terms of concepts, and how do you help bring them to more clarity?
So if they're brand new, what they'll say is, I can't afford a Bitcoin. I feel like I'm too late to the game. So that fear, we go over FUD, we go over fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That fear that they have, I've come in too late, we can easily remedy that with saying, hey, all of the Bitcoins are not finished being mined. We've got 21 million left to be mined. This is where we started in price. We know where we've been. We don't know where we're going. Our idea, our thought, our notion is that this is going to continue to grow in price. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get from this. So what we do is we focus on the value of it. We talk about the scarcity of it. We talk about the divisibility of it. We talk about the portability of it, the fungibility, but we really talk about the ability to have control of your own assets, a scarce asset that no one can confiscate from you. So that's why it's really important when we're talking about those wallet addresses that we actually go in and show how to move your cryptocurrency from the place where you got it into your own wallet to secure it. So that's one concept that they struggle with. Another concept that they may struggle with is, the security around it. They say, I heard that someone got scammed. I heard that this was used on the black market. So yes, cash is used on the black market too. This is undeniable. And in the early times of Bitcoin, you had places like Silk Road where people were doing nefarious activities. There's always been people doing that with fiat currency. No one talks about that. But now there are more people that are using this for legitimate purposes. And we see that governments are also sanctioning and trying to put legislation around it too, because they're recognizing that this is something that people are really, really looking at. They're taking seriously now.
Yeah, this is a new industry. So any sort of new technology, new industry, there's going to be predators, people who are willing to take advantage of those who are ignorant or are not as well versed in the space. So do you have an example of maybe a phishing scam or some sort of scam that
every day someone comes into the room and they give us a reason to be on our P's and Q's. We even have folks that have made profiles that look like our moderators. I've had people make profiles of me. Naja has had people make profiles of her. So what these are imposter scams. So I'll give you that example. An imposter scam. Someone makes a profile in my name. Everyone knows that I teach this class in the morning. I'm not a trader, right? I'm not a trader. Most people know that. But if you've only come into this room once or twice, you just know that I'm someone that knows what I'm talking about. So you think, right? Then you get someone in your back channel. Back channel is the direct message that Clubhouse uses. In your back channel or through your direct message, or someone sends you an email and it looks like me. That profile picture that they have, the name looks like me. So they'll start with, hi, how you doing? How's your trading going? Oh, I meant to tell you, I really enjoyed the room that we were in together, but I've got this platform that I want to introduce you to. Can I send you that information? They send you the information. You open up the link. You see now that this is some type of investment thing. And it says on there, you can invest $500 and get $5,000 in the next 7 days.
Yeah, no.
And then you'll say, wait a minute, Dr. Shalair, I thought that I wasn't supposed to give anyone my Bitcoin. You told me in the room I wasn't supposed to give anyone my Bitcoin. And they say, no, you're not giving me anything. What you're doing is you're setting up your account on this platform so that I can trade for, so that I can
set up the account for $500.
Yes, okay. You're setting up the account, and you're gonna. So you now are sending $500, or they want you to pay them in Bitcoin. You have to buy some Bitcoin and then you send it to this platform, and then that's going to start your account. They will continue to show you updates on that account of the money that you've made, the profit that you've made. So now you've moved from $500 to $5,000, and you're at the point where you're saying, okay, now I want to withdraw this. How do I withdraw it from the platform? They'll say, well, you've got a fee that you need to pay. It's a transaction fee, and that's going to be another $1,500.
Jeez, transaction fee, $1,500. Well, come on.
Now to get your $5,000, you've got to pay another $1,500 or another $700 or whatever it is. So they just go on with this cat and mouse game until you stop giving them money, and then you say, well, wait a minute, Where's my money? And then they go dark.
Oh my goodness. There is some internet savviness we must have.
Yeah.
Because
it's really important to know what you're looking at.
Right. No, that's a great example. And that will help a lot of people, because that's part of the fear too, that people, when they get into this industry, they're like, oh, I heard about scams. I heard people taken advantage of. Is this,
They
above
also
board? Does it have the
make a lot of
credibility?
money, right? They
Right.
also hear that people make a lot of money. So what I'm talking about in the morning is I'm talking about dollar cost averaging. I'm
Right.
talking
Right.
possibly buying the dip. You're buying Bitcoin at that point. You're buying it, you're holding it for yourself. These folks are looking forward to something called trading, because they heard that these other coins, they may be worth more, right? So they're going to trade this coin for that coin. They're going to trade this coin for Bitcoin and all of this other stuff. And it's just really what it is greed.
Yeah, of course. And
It's greed.
that's not going to go anywhere.
Mhm.
That's here to stay.
Yeah.
Well, pivoting from that, on a more positive side, could you tell me about one of the more successful stories from someone who first got started in one of your rooms and got back to you later and, was a
Yeah.
success?
Yeah, well, I'll use Marshall as an example. Marshall came in. He was not familiar with Bitcoin. He just wanted some basic information around it. But he ended up staying and staying and staying. And he got to the point where he can now explain these concepts to others in a fundamental, basic way. So now he's able to explain it to his friends and family. And that's really the best story that we can have here. That's the best case scenario. That someone comes in, they don't just stay for one day, they stay for the entire 5-day challenge so that they can get those fundamentals. They go out and they do their own due diligence, because I'm going to be talking about concepts that, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I talk about how the US was removed from the gold standard by President Richard Nixon in 1971. Maybe that's a lie. I want you to
Do
go
your own research.
do your own research. Figure out if this is something that's right for you and if it fits your family's financial needs and goals. And if it does, then I would expect that what you'll do now is you love your friends, you love your family, you spread that information. So that's the best case scenario there.
Yes. Each one teach one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about.
Because this is the thing. My friends and family may not listen to my voice until they see me in the Wall Street Journal, but they may listen to Ian, they may listen to Naja, they may listen to Lamar, because it's somebody else. They remember me when I was in high school, they remember me when I was in college and doing whatever. Now they know that I'm into cryptocurrency and marijuana. So whoa.
Yeah.
But if they go to the room and they
Spicy.
Yeah. On there. Let's see if there's anybody that'll back her up on that. So that's what they're doing. I noticed that one of my cousins actually goes into Naja's room. So she goes into there and learns. And whatever the case is, I want people, the best case scenario is for everyone to teach 1 or 10 people about this. That's the way that we can really make an impact in this space.
Right. I absolutely agree. So looking forward, you have Wake Up with Bitcoin. You still have your practice as a chiropractor.
I have 2 practices.
Yeah, you have a few practices, man. How do you keep this all together? How do you keep the balls in the air juggling?
It was hilarious, because on the day that the person came out to do a photo shoot for the Wall Street Journal, they're like, "Oh, well, what time do you get up?" And I'm like, "You sure?" You sure?
Early bird special. Yeah.
That's going to be 3:30, 4 o'clock. But why don't you meet me at my office? I'll be seeing patients at 6:30 in the morning. So we'll start at 6:30 in the morning. I see patients for that half an hour, and then I go into the discussion. That's my break from my practice. And then after the discussion, I see more patients, and then I really start getting into the cannabis thing. So we're looking for dispensaries. We're looking at dispensary places. We're looking for cultivation places. We're looking for me. And the day goes on and on and on. But it's a crazy schedule, but it tends to be a routine for me, for my schedule to be crazy. So I just keep it all in the calendar. Where am I supposed to be next?
Whoa.
It gives me a notification. This is the way you're driving. And I say, okay.
What time you get to bed? You must be getting bed at 6:30. If you waking up at 3 a.m.
And that's why I miss from bars to Bitcoin. I miss Bitcoin after dark. So I'm missing some really, really dope rooms because I go to sleep early. I'm in bed by 8 o'clock usually. In the summertime, a little bit later because it's a little weird to be in bed when it's light outside still. But usually 8:30 is my bedtime. So if there's nighttime stuff, I don't see it.
Man, I need to be on your schedule, honestly. I
It
feel like I'm
be productive.
you
That's help you to be productive.
you waking up at 3:30, 3:40, like you have like 4 hours, 3 hours of work, and I'm snoozing. Oh man. I love it though.
Get
I
things
love it
done,
though.
and you got to schedule them accordingly.
Perfect. Now, in terms of Bitcoin and like the future of the industry, or
Mhm.
just like future projects that may be coming out, what are you most excited about that's coming up?
I'm still really excited about the 5-day challenge. I'm really excited about this. If we could get the rest of the folks on board, we have a club membership of 138,000.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to see our members to really have a good grasp on the fundamentals, because I think that what happens is people join the Clubhouse platform, or they join Wakanda on Facebook, or Wakoinda on Facebook, and they say, this seems cool, Black Bitcoin billionaires, I'll join that club. They may come into one or two of our rooms, but then they kind of get lost in the sauce. I think that what we really need to do is we really need to have a real concerted effort to make sure that folks are getting those fundamentals, whatever channels those are, whether it be Lamar's course or Justin's course, whether it be through the virtual Underground Railroad that Naj is doing, whether it's one of our clubs that are here on Clubhouse, our Clubhouse rooms on Clubhouse. I think that what we really, really need to do is try to get together and get a plan and a strategy of how we're going to disseminate this information outside of the Clubhouse platform. And if that means bringing people into the Clubhouse platform, sending out those replays, whatever the case may be, the goal is one full Bitcoin for each Black family. If we can get one full Bitcoin for each Black family, we can do some damage. And it's not impossible. If folks are coming in and they're saying, okay, I got me, my husband, my kids, I've got all these folks, they've got all this extra stuff around the house. Why don't I get rid of some of that stuff? Fiat currency is right there. It's sitting in front of you. Transfer that over to Bitcoin. When you're going out, if you decided it's COVID, I'm not going to go out that much, I'm going to stay home, blah, blah, blah. You can take the money that you were going to use for that one night out and you can go on and put that into Bitcoin. There's a lot of ways that you can take money and stack it up and stack those sats. So my goal going forward would be to get as many Black families that have one full Bitcoin. And I'm standing in that. I'm standing in that gap with the 5-day challenge. And what my plan is now is I really want to put out some media that will allow people to see, even if they're not in Bitcoin Basics for Beginners, I want them to have a script of the Bitcoin Basics for Beginners. That they
checklist.
Out. Yeah, and they can go to their friends and their family. If they've got a question, come back. But I want the fundamentals to be in there, and I want all of them to share it with their friends and family. That's the only way we can do it, not by us, but by the people that hear us and the people that hear them.
Every Black family to have at least one Bitcoin. That's a goal. That's a true goal. Because when you think about it, there's about 55, 56 million millionaires in the world right now. And there's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. So there's not enough Bitcoin for every millionaire to at least get one.
Right.
Like mathematically, it's impossible. So the opportunity exists today.
The opportunity does exist, and we can have these goals. So what do they say? Shoot for the moon, and if you don't make it, you'll land among the stars. Even if each family just have a half a Bitcoin, I'm good on that. Yeah. But we have to get off of zero, because we already have, $208 in comparison to $20,000 or $30,000 that each white family has. It's a problem. We know that even when we have that fiat money, the value of that fiat money is decreasing with inflation. The purchasing power of those dollars are decreasing. So if I was to leave $10,000 for my children right now, it's going to be able to buy $5,000 worth of products or services in 10 or 20 years. So I really want to avoid that. And I want to make sure that they're into a deflationary asset is all it is. Get everyone off of zero. If that family gets a quarter of a Bitcoin, kudos to them. If they get a half, kudos to them. The goal is one though.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm behind you with this. Well, Shalair, it's an absolute pleasure talking to you. Every time that we get together is always a nice, fun chat. You are a great educator. You're doing a great service. You get up with the roosters and the Marines of the world, getting it in. So you're someone that people should model after. And I thank you that you're a part of this.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me today. I look forward to seeing more folks that come onto the Clubhouse platform and go into the Twitter Spaces. I really wish that there was a format on Twitter Spaces where you could really hold something like this so that more people could come onto the stage, but it seems like it's a little bit limited with the Twitter Spaces right now, so it's going to take a little bit of development. But the Clubhouse platform is a big improvement from Zoom, so we're here and we're going to keep on growing.